Hey peeps, Galucia here on another episode of my Craft the World Let's Play, and we have a lot to cover today. I've got a lot of stories to cover, so we'll start off with the game so we can see what's going on with that. A little bit of an update thing going on here. I've been moving along a little bit. I've gotten rid of, if you remember, there was a bunch of graves over here. Now there's just trees growing there, and then I went way over here, and there were graves over here too. I set up a portal so that they could quickly get over there and take care of all of that and take out some sheep and stuff while they were at it. So we got rid of all of that stuff, which was really helpful. And then down here, we've continued our digging, and that's actually going to be a big part of what I do today, is I'm going to keep this mine going. And I know I've been mining a lot of nonsense, the rubbish, but I really feel like it's going to be better off in the long run if I clear large sections of stuff rather than just digging tunnels here and there. I really feel like that's kind of like the better way to go about it. Take a quick look at the tech so you can see where we're at with that. I just finished advanced woodworking. That literally just finished when I opened everything back up because I was making lots of planks. So probably the main thing I'm going to be working on now is the iron working, and then the basic weaponry is going to be unlocked, and then I can start working on arrows and stuff, which is a big deal, and I really would like to do that. So I have a couple different things I wanted to cover, and I think today I'm only going to be worrying about the length of stories I have. I went about 8 days without being able to post anything, and it came right at a time when a good friend of mine, Chippy Gaming, actually name dropped me in his Craft the World series. So I wanted to give a big thank you to Chippy for that. And I actually have a Chippy story for any of the fans of Chippy that found their way over to me, and you're interested in some interesting stories about Chippy. I've got a couple for you, so I'm going to try to squeeze those in today. And I didn't get it. So the last video I posted was after that, but it was something that I recorded a while ago. I had a little bit of an issue with recording, as I sometimes do, because for those of you that don't know, I am a truck driver, and I do most of my recordings from the road in the back of my truck. But I had this huge ongoing issue. I had catastrophic problems in the trucking industry that kept me from being able to do all my stuff. So that's going to be the length of what our stories are about today. But I did want to thank Chippy before I got anything else accomplished. So, but actually today I'm recording from my house because I finally did get home, and I'm taking a very long break at home. I don't normally take like huge periods of time at home because it's just you need to stay on the road to make the monies. But what I'm actually doing is I'm switching from a company driver, which is what I am now. I work for one of the largest trucking companies in the nation, and I'm switching from that to what's called an independent contractor, where you own your own truck, and I'll be working for the same company but as an owner-operator of my own truck. So that's what I'm going to start doing at the end of the month. So I'm just taking kind of a little bit of a break to kind of get all my affairs in order before I go to pick up my truck, and there's a couple days of training that goes with that, and then I'm ready to go. So I had a little bit more to do as a... Can somebody kill this guy, or are we just going to let him... We're just going to let him do that. Okay. Cool. I had a little bit left to do as a company driver, and so that's what I was, still doing my thing as a company driver. And then what ended up, just everything fell apart. I'll give you some quick backstory about the truck that I had. I had a lot of problems with this truck since I picked it up about 40,000 miles ago. So I guess I've had it for, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months, whatever it's been. And the issues I was having stemmed from... What's this? A Miller's book. Stemmed from the fact that right from the start when I picked up this truck, it was having issues with what's called the DEF system. And I'm not going to bore you with... Oh, a Miller. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to bore you with the details of what DEF is or what it does. But just suffice to say is that it wasn't working properly. And that's been ongoing since I first picked up this truck. It was repaired 3 times by 3 different locations that my company, like their locations, not like a privately owned place, like the company's actual mechanics. And the problems was still persisting, so this was like an ongoing pain in the butt process. So I eventually just had to ignore it. I kept bringing it in to get repaired, and it wasn't really actually doing anything. So I just said, oh, well, I guess it's going to stay broken forever. I just kind of ignored it. Well, I had a job in a place called Sparks, Nevada, and I was supposed to be going to Phoenix. So I was taking a highway through California heading south called the US 395. So I'm taking this highway, and it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. There's lots of nothing on this highway. So if you were going to have a breakdown, this is not the place to do it. And so I had to stay at a rest stop for the night. There's no truck stops on this road at all. There's nothing like that. When I woke up the next morning, I started to drive, and I only drove for maybe like 20 minutes when I realized that my truck was being decelerated. So what happens is when certain systems in the truck are going wrong, the truck will actually automatically slow itself down so that whatever the problem is doesn't get worse, if that makes any sense. And it depends on what the problem is. So again, the DEF system was having these issues, and this idiot just fell off a ladder and almost died. Come on, guy, go. I need to force him to go to bed. So the truck decelerated itself to 55 miles an hour, and which is the speed limit in the state of California for trucks. On any highway, the highest that trucks can go is 55. So that in and of itself isn't the end of the world, because it's just like, all right, well, I have to go the speed limit, so, no big deal. But the fact that it was decelerating means that whatever the problem is with the DEF was getting worse. That was the problem, not the fact that I had to go 55. So I figured, well, I got about 140 miles to go to the first truck stop that you actually come across, which is actually where I was going to be stopping to get fuel. So I was like, I'll just get there, stop for fuel, call this in, and let them know, hey, I can't go to Phoenix, because if the problem gets worse, your truck will get decelerated even farther, like even slower than, and then once it gets below 55, then obviously you got a problem because you can't drive highway speeds. So, and I wasn't 75 miles away from Fontana, which is a city in the greater Los Angeles area, and my company has an operating center there with mechanics, and so they could take care of the problem. So I called it in and said, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and drive to Fontana, and then I would drop my trailer as a relay for a different driver to pick up so that the job can continue, and then I can get my stuff fixed, and that's how that would all go down. So that was the plan. And then I finished getting fuel, and I finished talking to them, so I go to drive, and immediately all these lights are coming on, the stop engine light's on, and my truck is decelerated all the way to 5 miles an hour, which is the final stage. After 55, it goes down to either 35 or 25, I can't remember which. And then after that, all the way down to 5, so you can't get out of basically third gear. And and that's just like that means that the DEF system is totally not working now, just 100% not working, and they're giving you just enough speed to safely get off the road if you were driving when this happened, or to safely park if you were, whatever. So, yeah, I'm reduced to 5 miles an hour, and reverse gear still works and stuff like that. So I had to just leave the fuel island, find a place to park, and then the rest of my day ensued. I had to wait to get towed, and I had to get towed to the Fontana OC, 75 miles. The whole process took 9.5 hours from the moment that I called and said, hey, I need a tow truck, to the moment that I got to Fontana. That was a Saturday night. So then we proceeded to look for loaner trucks for me. If the company has other trucks available that aren't being used in that OC, then I could temporarily take one of those trucks that aren't being used, use those trucks to work for however long it's going to take to get my my normal truck that I usually use fixed, and then that's how we deal with that situation. So at first they didn't have any loaner trucks, so I had to just say, okay, I'll just wait it out. Sunday came and went, and I spent the whole day in a hotel that, of course, my company pays for. And then, Monday, I believe it was Monday. This is a little while ago now. Well, I may not remember all the specific days, but anyway. So they said, hey, there was an emergency. So one of the drivers for my company actually had some kind of medical emergency. They were at a customer doing a pickup, and then they had some sort of medical emergency. They left the facility. It was a Walgreens distribution center. They literally drove across the street where there was a dirt lot, parked the truck, and went to the hospital. So it was like, oh, geez. So now they're like, this truck and trailer is abandoned and just sitting there, and there's a load on the truck. So we need to get this back to Fontana OC. It's about 30 miles away from the Fontana OC. So they said, go pick it up, and if the truck is in good shape, then we're going to clean this guy's stuff out and store it somewhere safe for him, and then you can use this truck. So I was like, all right, that's a little bit weird to some respects, but I'll do that. So, can I gather this water? Yay. So I agreed to do that, no problem, and so I had to get a ride from some guy that works at the place, like just in his car, to go get this truck. And we get there, and I wave the guy off, hey, thanks, man, and then that's that. And I just realized I've been making all these things and not equipping them. That's not really gonna help anybody, is it? And I go to get into the guy's truck, and it's absolutely disgusting inside. I mean, there was an odor, there were cigarette butts like all over the place, and like open cans of Monster just like rolling around and stuff. It's like, what is going on in here? Like, it was really, really gross. So clearly this wasn't a truck that anyone could use anytime soon. It was going to have to be thoroughly cleaned out. And they have a guy that comes out to like detail the trucks or whatever. But yeah, so that guy was going to obviously have to do that. He was going to need to detail all the trucks out, or detail this truck out thoroughly. I mean, like, they needed to set up like UV lights in there and like just sterilize it for a couple of days. It was pretty bad. So so I told him about it, and it's like, okay, obviously you can't use that, so just come back and we'll figure something else out. So I had to drive it just to get it back to Fontana. And I honestly, just in that short amount of time that the 30 miles I had to drive that thing, it was like totally skeeved out. And it was a shame too, because it was a really nice truck. It was one of the newer trucks that the company has. So I was looking forward to driving it, but it was absolutely filthy inside. So, so that truck didn't pan out. And then, so then I had to kind of just sit around the OC for a little while. They said, just give us some time, just hang out there at the OC. We'll see what happens. And they ended up finding another truck that was available, and they said, go ahead and check this truck out and see what its deal is. And so I found it, and I was like, yeah, okay, this will work. Yay, we can do our bow thing now. So I can do a lot of new stuff. Oh, the steel club, that's gonna be so helpful. Yes. So I moved into that truck, and it was smaller than my normal truck, so I didn't have a lot of space. I had to leave a bunch of my stuff behind in my normal truck and just brought what I could actually bring, because I knew that I was only going to be actually using that truck for a couple of days, and then I would have to switch back to my truck, which hopefully would be fixed by then. So that's what I did. They gave me some like short jobs that weren't like too far away or whatever, and so yeah, I had this truck for the temporary setup, and it worked fine. Like I said, it was just small. It was a little bit older, but it actually ran pretty good, so I wasn't too miffed about it. I called the mechanics while I was out doing my thing, and to find out, the status of my truck, and they said, yeah, it's all fixed, good to go. So like, all right, sweet, thanks guys. I'll be there in a couple hours. So I get back to the OC, and I park my loaner truck, and then I go to look for my truck. So I go to the mechanics, I get the key. I've got my own key, but I have multiple sets, so I give one to the mechanics. And so I go to pick up my key, and then I go to look for my truck. I go to the normal area where the mechanics would park it, and it's not there. So then I go back to maintenance, and I'm like, hey, where'd you guys put this? And they're like, well, it should be back there. I was like, okay, well, it's not. So can you look it up for me? All the trucks have GPS, and they can just look it up. And he's like, it's not working. And last time it was on the thing, it was like over here, which is like close to it was like near the gate. And then the system like wasn't tracking it properly. So it's like, okay. So I walked all over the place looking for the truck, like all over the OC. And it's not a small place. It took me like a good 10 minutes to walk around. I'm like, all right, it's not here. So I went to the fuel desk, which is like the main desk where the security guys hang out and whatnot. And I said, can you look this truck up for me and see if it ever left the gate? They said, and they looked it up and they said, yeah, it left the gate. It's assigned to driver number so-and-so and so-and-so, who's not me. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, this is my truck. Like, my stuff's still in it. Like, what's going on? So I immediately have to call operations. It's after hours, so my normal supervisor, it's called a DBL, she's off because it was later by now. So you got to call, like, the late night people. And they're like, yeah, I don't know how this happened, but I guess he got assigned your truck as soon as it was put in the system as available, even though it was obviously not available because it was mine. So that was where that problem immediately stirred up. So they had to get a hold of the dude who was in the area still picking up a load. So they actually got a hold of him and said, hey, you know, this got assigned you by accident. Go back to Fontana when you finish picking up that load. And then they instructed us that me and him were actually going to end up just swapping trucks. He was going to take the loaner that I was still in, and then I was going to take my truck. It's like, whatever, I don't even care. Just get me back in my truck because all my stuff's still in there, and this is ridiculous. So I had to deal with all of that nonsense. I had to stay up till like 2 hours later than I wanted to. The time is irrelevant because I'm a truck driver. But I had stayed up 2 hours later than I was planning on staying up because someone kill that guy, please. Jeez. Because I had to wait for him to get back to the OC so that I could swap out. And then by the time I finished putting all my stuff back in the truck and him getting his stuff in it, yeah, it was just a mess. So that was a nonsensical situation. And then from there, they had to give me jobs going north because I was very late for my home time. I usually go out on the road for about 12 weeks at a time. And at this point, I had been on the road for almost 3 weeks, and I was getting ready to make the switch to IC. So I was like, I need to get home and like do this stuff. I got a lot of preparation I need to do. So like we need to get this going. And so I got a couple decent jobs that were taking me home, and I was actually happy with the jobs themselves. But I got maybe 150, 200 miles from Fontana back in my truck, and once again the same problem popped up. The error codes came right back, exact same problem. Still driving full speed, it's not decelerating me, but the same issue is there. So at any point this truck could just decide to get worse and start decelerating itself again. But it's like, look, I just need this to last long enough for me to get to Phoenix. Because now as a company driver, what I need to do is I need to go back to work. I'll get my company truck, and they'll give me a job taking me from the state of Washington where I live down to Phoenix where I'm picking up my new truck, and then that's it. Now I'm done. So like that's how I'm getting transported down there, is it with a job. So I just need this thing to last long enough for me to make it to Phoenix. So, and which is about 1,400 miles, give or take, depending on where I pick up the load or whatever. So if it can survive for 1,400 miles, I'm in business. So yeah, I'll just drop it off in Phoenix, tell them that it's still broken after being repaired 4 times now. And the moral of that story is that when I get my truck that I have to pay for, I will not be getting it repaired at my company's shop. So I'll be getting it repaired at a shop of my own choosing. And there's a lot of minor details there that I left out for the sake of the length of the story. But yeah, suffice to say is that it was a really, really hectic 8 days, because that's how long all of that was like spanning over. And it kept me from being able to do the YouTube related stuffs. So that's why I was absent for a little while. But as I said, good friend Chippy Gaming gave me he made his own Craft the World game, and then gave me a fantastic shout out at the end where he was very sweet, talking about how I was one of his original inspirations for YouTube, because I actually have been on YouTube for over 4 years now. So the quick story I was going to tell to wrap this up for all the fans of Chippy Gaming that found their way to my channel and are watching this video from Chippy, so you're aware of Chippy and everything that he's about. I was going to embarrass him a little bit as a way of saying thank you. So the way I met Chippy is what this is the title of this story. And there's no other way to put it, and I don't use this word in a derogatory way, but he was the definition of a fanboy. And again, I don't use that in a derogatory way, like to because some people look at that as like a bad thing. He was just like a super fan. He was just a really big fan of my YouTube channel. But like, it jumps the shark a little bit in certain circumstances, and he jumped the shark. So what he did for me, and I have it, I still have this. What I'm about to talk about, I have it, and I actually was making plans on releasing a video with the map as a download. So when I first started YouTube, I was primarily a Minecraft guy, and that's what he was watching of me when it first started with my series that was called Minecraft Adventures. And so he sends me a Minecraft map, and in the map was a giant 3D sprite of my Minecraft character, like my Minecraft avatar, made, you know, out of wool and dirt and whatever. This is way, way back in the day. It may be all the way back to alpha. I'm pretty sure it was, actually. So limited in the blocks that he could use. So it was probably mostly like dirt and stuff like that. But he makes this giant 3D sprite of me. The map was called Galucia Tribute, and which that in and of itself is a bit fanboyish, to make a giant 3D statue of your YouTuber and then send it to him. But then to take it a step farther, as if there was a way to do that, he went ahead and it was hollow. This giant 3D sprite of me was hollow, and then inside the giant 3D sprite were signs, Minecraft signs, all over the walls, and these signs were chronicling everything I did in my series Minecraft Adventures up to that point. So literally every episode of Minecraft Adventures, everything that I did and accomplished up to that point, he chronicled it in Minecraft signs on the inside of me. So that was how I met him, and I thought it was a really good gesture, so we started hanging out once in a while on Minecraft and stuff like that. One thing led to another, and we still stay in contact to this day. So that is the quick story of how I met Chippy Gaming, and as soon as I can properly dig it up and install it and all that stuff, I will actually show you what I'm talking about. So those of you that are fans of Chippy Gaming that may found your way here from him, you can look forward to that. Keep an eye out for that. I'll make a quick Minecraft video about that. And then if you didn't find your way to me from Chippy Gaming and you have no idea who I'm talking about, he is a really cool guy, and he's mostly known as he's the Terraria guy. If you like Terraria, he's the YouTuber for Terraria. No one is bigger and is more connected in the game of Terraria than he is. So if you like that game at all, then he's your guy, and you should go check him out. So big thanks again to Chippy for that. So let's wrap up the game anyway to see where we are with all of this. Didn't advance a whole lot in technology today. I think we were mostly just digging out resources and mining as I was blabbering on. So I think I'm going to end the recording here, but I am going to go ahead and try to build up a little bit in the weapons category and just do a couple of quick things in between recordings. So I will work on that. Big thanks to everybody for watching today, and next episode we will obviously have a monster wave because it's coming in 2 minutes. So I guess I won't build up because I need to record that, so I will stop playing in a minute. So next episode we'll have the second monster wave, and then we are going to do a lot of building. I want to really advance in the next episode, so there'll be a lot of advancements in the next episode to look forward to. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I appreciate the views and support, and I will see everybody next time. Laters!